say if I had a client now like in front of me and they were saying my weight is 120, I would say, okay, what's your goal? How many kilos do you want to lose? They would probably say, I don't know, 30, 40, maybe 50. All right. So I wouldn't have the approach of, the faster the better. Of course it's not, because it's not sustainable. You cannot lose 30, 40 or 50 kilos that quick and maintain the weight.
Welcome to You Know What, the podcast for you that dispels the myths and BS in the fitness industry whilst leveling up your A game in everyday life. We are your hosts, Nick Finch and Dan King.
Guys, welcome back to another episode of You Know What in our new London studio.
Ta-da.
Live here forever.
We're on the road.
Yeah, we have Achilleas today. This is London's top trainer, Greek trainer, in fact. Malakas is like to be
Number one.
Number one, Malakas. That's what you want to say.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
You keep telling me every time I say that. How are we doing, Achilles? I haven't seen you for a long time.
Thank you for inviting me. Pleasure to be with you today. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, fella.
Yeah, let's smash the podcast today, and I'm happy to be here.
It's going to be good.
Ready to dive into our
So,
huge list.
Achilles, we do need to. So I was going to say we have a monstrous list here, but Achilles, we have a very important tradition in our podcast, and that tradition is you do a random fact at the start of the podcast. So, mate, go ahead. What's your random fact?
Yeah, last week I broke a World Guinness record.
Wow. What was it for?
It was the biggest, the largest class of suspension training ever in the world.
Blimey. So let's dive into that a little bit. So where did you do it?
It was in Athens.
Yep.
It was 1 week, like last weekend. It was a TRX summit in which we took about 600 people, and we broke the record, which was 422 people training next to each other with a pair of straps. TRX. It was incredible. Huge class. It was like, honestly, very big.
422. Where would you go for that? Like a big warehouse or?
It was the Olympic Stadium, actually.
Oh wow!
The Olympic Stadium in Athens.
Athens, like the famous one, which is like I don't know what it's called.
The Colosseum.
No,
that's in Rome.
No, it's the Olympic Stadium of Athens, not the old one, the new one.
Yeah,
the new one, the modern one.
No, I thought that would have been beaten. 422 doesn't sound like a lot in my head for some reason, but
was a lot.
It must have been, yeah.
But if you think about think of a pure gym class, trying to fit 422 people into pure gym to do a class, that kind of level, you're getting 400 people to come do a class, which is crazy. Like the Box Park Gymshark things only have 100 people there.
Yeah.
So you got to bear in mind and especially because it's specific with the TRX, isn't it? So Achilles, for you then, do you specialize in TRX training then? With a lot of your clients, you use a TRX
trainer and also a TRX ambassador.
So talk a little bit about TRX then, because I think that'd be an interesting thing for some of the viewers out there who are starting training, because I think it's a really good way if you don't know where you are for training and where you should start off. I think it's a great way to get people into fitness. So why should people use a TRX when they start training?
Exactly. TRX is amazing. You know what? I fell in love with TRX like 10 years ago when I was, not very experienced. And it helped me a lot because you can train, even if you're a beginner or intermediate or even advanced, you can use these straps and do like hundreds of exercises for different levels. And it's amazing how two straps can challenge your body that much. You can train, you can hit all the body muscles and have a really effective workout. You can sweat, you can do cardio, you can do strength, you can do mobility. Now they do yoga, TRX yoga and TRX Pilates, which is amazing. You can do everything with it with a pair of straps.
That's cool.
It's amazing.
Is it right that I heard TRX when before they first obviously came about, special forces when they went on operations in the world, they would have no access to a gym. So they would take with them a car seatbelt material and start putting it around trees and start to do stuff like that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And since then, TRX then developed from that concept of you can take this tiny piece of material around with you around the world, wherever you are, and train everything.
Yeah, you can be whatever you want, and just with a pair of straps, you can train your body. You can have full body workouts or upper body or legs or whatever you want. Is fully functional and really effective. I think you can challenge yourself a lot.
It's
Interesting. If you take a very hard angle, if you take a very hard angle, it's really hard.
I'll tell you what, the biggest problem that most people have with TRX is how to actually set it up. Because I see people in the gym all the time. You know, when there's like the designated hoop you've got to put it in.
Yeah.
They're putting it in different positions. When you're pulling it, you do like a little test to make sure it's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Once you learn it, it's easy. It's very easy.
Yeah.
Very easy.
So interesting though, because that actually ties into a conversation me and Nick were having earlier, because you're talking about the kind of adaptability of a TRX and how useful it is. So for Nick, you were speaking about this. You want to go into a part where you're training, like you want to take training and travel and put it into one, basically. So with a TRX, technically that's possible.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very fond of this of the TRX style training.
Yeah.
Bands as well, but thing with bands is that like you have to try and find the right resistance.
Yeah.
Because if it's too heavy, you can't do certain exercises, bicep curls. If it's too light, you can't do anything anyway. So TRX, at least you can use your body weight, which, you know, as a calisthenics lover, you know,
I can teach you some tricks.
Show me
the band.
TRX tricks.
Right now, yeah?
No, right.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I can have some fun with the TRX.
But you know what? With a pair of straps and
Yeah.
few bands, you can have a really good workout wherever you are.
The only fear I have with bands is, do you know the old cable fly sets you got when over lockdown? So many people were using these sets of bands that you strap over a door. Biggest fear, that band coming off the door because someone's opened it and you just get whipped on the back.
The Liver King had oh my god, do you know why he disappeared for a while?
No.
It was because he was doing banded pulls with a resistance band, and it smacked him in the eye, and he had to have surgery.
Is that why you wore an eye patch for a period of time? I remember that.
Didn't know
That's
that.
wild.
That's anyway, away from TRX for a little bit now. So Achilles, for yourself, let's have a little bit of introduction for you then. So you're a personal trainer working in London and you work with busy professionals, but we want to break that down a little bit because a busy professional is, you know, is such a general thing. So for yourself, like, why did you get into training and why do you enjoy training the people that you train?
Okay, good question. I've been training people since 2012 in Greece. And I came to London in 2020, just before the quarantine. No, between the two quarantines. It was 2020, December. The reason I love training people is because I found how amazing it is to change your body and how changing your body changes your life, changes your character, actually, after a long period of training, changes your mentality, your mindset, the way you see the world, and you see the way you manage the difficulties in your life. Because when you do something difficult every day, when you challenge your body every day and you get better every single day, it's delayed gratitude, isn't it? And you don't see the results in a few hours or the next day. You see it after a long period of time. And I think that's the secret to fitness success. And because I lived that, I experienced that in myself. I thought it would be nice to teach people how to do it and help them achieve their goals, because I saw it's not that hard. You just have to do it. You just have to find the way to make it a habit, to love it, to get in love with it. All right, it's not a punishment. It's not I don't know how to say that, but it's something that all people should be able to do. We are in this world to move, to be healthy, to basically to be able to move, right? Because most people cannot move properly, even because of sitting on a desk all day, or I don't know, because they had some injuries in the past and they haven't, recovered well and properly. So yeah, and as a nutritionist, because I studied, my basic studies are dietetics and nutrition. I had that holistic point of view of helping people from both ways, nutritionally and training wise. And that's why I think I'm in love with both of them. I cannot choose.
So it's interesting you say that as well, because I mean, again, another topic for conversation there that it kind of brought in. So this is a different spin on it, but 56% of the adult population of London is obese. Why do you think that number is so high? And how can we kind of amend it in a way that people can fall in love with fitness? What do you think is the biggest barrier stopping those people getting involved in fitness?
Good question. Okay.
Because for me, I think as well that we're talking about obesity here. We're talking about there's an abundance of processed foods about. But what do you think, minus travel, because let's be honest, getting around in London is pretty easy. Like you can get from place to place within like 15 minutes. Do you think it's motivational based?
You think that you mean the eating habits?
Yeah, like, do you think it's motivational based why people are, you'll find there's such a large percentage of people that are obese at the minute?
I don't know if it's the way that people grow up, or is it
So kind of like,
choice, the options that you have around you.
Yeah.
So since the time I came to London, I can see that there are like McDonald's everywhere.
We were talking about this beforehand. Like
Huh?
I was saying to Dan earlier, like in Southampton, go on Uber Eats.
Yeah.
There's like 50 restaurants,
Yeah.
which is quite a lot. Yeah. But London, you look at Uber Eats, it's
Yeah.
like 700, and then you click on show more, and there's like another.
It's so
500.
easy. It's so easy to find,
It's insane.
junk food,
Yeah.
quick, fast food, cheap. And to be honest, okay, everyone knows that they taste good, all right? But you know what? I don't know. If you have a better look at if you go even lower in your list, in Uber Eats or whatever it is, Deliveroo, you can find many good options, many good healthy options, right? But nobody does that. I think it's the way that people grow up, and I think we are responsible for changing this. I don't know, this principle and this habit.
But how much of this is nothing to do with any of this at all, except that it's human nature to see high fat, high sugar food when you're stressed and you want to consume it. Do you know what I mean? If we look at an evolutionary perspective, the human brain is, in theory, we're still primitive brained in terms of like, we still have the brain of our ancestors, except we're now in a modern world that's fast paced, there's food everywhere, so it's easy for us to want to consume everything. It's like a part of our amygdala response. Like we need to eat.
I think it's kind of addictive, isn't it?
It is.
If you eat sugar, you crave for sugar. If you eat healthier, you get used to it after a few weeks, and you want that.
Yeah,
You know
and
what?
then one day of eat ice cream and then it all goes downhill again. And you're like a spiral again.
It's that time that you have to be like 10 times stronger than ever, and say no. I'll say no because I want it, because consciously I'm there and I will make a better choice.
Yeah.
And that's it. Because you make the choice. You. Not only your brain. You. The whole thing.
Of course. Because I mean, I know you were saying in before this podcast about motivation and like you really like in that world right now of like understanding someone's reasons for doing stuff, right? And I was described once that we feel like we're the ones in the driving seat, but we're actually the passenger, and the driver is your emotional center.
Yeah.
Like driving everywhere, and you're like, no, stop it, do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So when it comes to motivation, how does someone control that child that's on the inside, that's driving the car all over the place, eating everything they can see?
I believe is a matter of habits again. Habit is the word, the magic word. If you set some habits and you stick to them, but the habits should be sustainable and realistic. You cannot be from 0 to 100 in a day, right? But if your mindset is like, I want to be 1% better every day, after 100 days you'll be 100% better.
Kaizen, right?
Achilles.
No. That's the Kaizen philosophy, right? 1% better every day.
I don't know that.
Yeah, it's the Kaizen philosophy.
Kaizen.
It's Japanese. I'm pretty sure Japanese. It's 1% better every day. They have the same philosophy.
Achilles is the modern Greek philosopher.
This man has his own habit.
Well, there was I read this in a book, and it was saying how the Japanese economy is flourishing, and the reason why people are so productive there is because the companies tend to have a philosophy of 1% better every day. And the Kaizen philosophy comes from Japan in terms of that. So what you describe is basically from that place in the world.
Okay.
Which is why that's so
Good
productive.
to know.
Yeah, it's good though, isn't it? Like we were talking about this with the content.
Mm-hmm.
You post content and then you go, right, how can I improve it 1% next time?
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
And that's what you need to do. I think that comes with training as well. And I think so many people lay everything out on the table immediately and think it's almost like, okay, if you've done a big food shop, a way I like to look at it is so many people lose motivation for training, for dieting, because say you lay out your food shop out on a table immediately and go, and I turn you and say, make food out of that, you're stressed. You haven't got a plan. You haven't got a structure. You haven't done it bit by bit. But say I take away some bits of that food on the table, you can look at it with a clearer picture, and you can actually sit there and go, actually, these are the options I've got, and I think these are going to be better for making the meal that I want to make. And I think that applies to training in a big way too, that there's so many options and outlets for training. The minute you're saying about TRX training, CrossFit training, calisthenics training, and I think so many people get so stressed before they even get there that they even don't want to get that 1% better, because they're trying so many different things before they've even tried one of them for a long period of time. And one of the big pieces of advice I'm going to give to anyone out there is, as much as you can try everything, try sticking to something for 6 months. Build up a habit of training first, and then say, okay, actually CrossFit's not for me. TRX might be for me. Calisthenics might be for me. You know, there's different outlets that you can go down. And again, we're all fitness professionals in this space. So any comments on this kind of stuff, please drop in comments to this video and on the actual Spotify itself, because we're happy to help out. I did want to talk on that again, habits, because there was a big bit of news that came out this week, and you'll be seeing this on Sunday. So Gemma Collins, we spoke to Achilleas earlier. He doesn't really know who Gemma Collins is, but any of my Brits out there, you're going to know who Gemma Collins is. And I'm going to do a very bad Essex accent here. Right, darling, how you doing? That's Gemma Collins, but slightly more feminine. So
Sounds like a man.
it's close enough. So Gemma Collins lost 13 pounds in a week. Okay. Now, from us fitness professionals, that's like, my God, that's a lot of weight. Okay. So that she's lost a stone in a week. The way she lost that stone is she cut out loads of certain food groups from her diet. She cut out carbs completely. Carbs went. She cut out any kind of snacking, so chocolates, crisps, sweets, stuff like that. So you're starting to see a decrease in glycogen as well over that period of time. Now, to you, Achilleas, obviously as a professional who's been in the industry as long as you have, is that a sustainable approach for losing weight?
Absolutely.
There we go. Yes, do it. Give it a go. But would you? So for that, I worked it out. She'd have to be burning 7,000 calories a day over the course of a week. If it's fat.
Is she competing?
No, she's just very overweight. In a brutal way. So she's just like, we're talking about obesity earlier. She would be in that obese category. And that's not being horrible to this woman. She is obese, and I think she knows it as well. So for yourself, if you had someone like Gemma come to you and say, look, I want to lose a stone in a week, what would you say to them?
Okay, thanks for the question. I have that question every now and then. Yeah. It's very similar. Look, what's your weight? Do you know?
My weight, 93.
No, share weight.
Oh,
share weight.
Like her total weight, probably over 20 kilos.
No. Let's say
20 kilos?
Wait.
No.
What's your body weight right now?
Her body weight.
No, share.
Her, Gemma's,
okay.
100. I think it was like 120.
Okay.
Yeah,
120
kilos.
So I would say if I had a client now, like in front of me, and they were saying my weight is 120, I would say, okay, what's your goal? How many kilos do you want to lose? They would probably say, I don't know, 30, 40, maybe 50. All right? So I wouldn't have the approach of, the faster the better. Of course, it's not. Because it's not sustainable. You cannot lose 30, 40, or 50 kilos that quick and maintain the weight. And obviously, then they will have to build up muscle mass. Mm-hmm. And it will be hard because you'll see they'll have some, skin issues maybe, and they may need a surgery maybe. And I'm not an expert in that scenario, but I know that many people are gonna see this. I want to watch this video or listen to this podcast. So, if you want to lose that amount of weight, you should learn how to do it correctly, properly, and work with an expert. Because, everybody knows. How do I say that? Fuck. There is a reason to be called expert, right? So there is a reason to be called fuck.
Called fuck.
There is there is a reason for someone to be called as an expert, right?
Yeah.
Because for some reason we know a little bit more than the other people.
Well,
right.
This is really good because this is what we're going to dive into.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about obviously glycogen and stuff like that because obviously we all know that, if you drop carbs, you lose water and you lose a lot of weight. All right. Doesn't mean it's a good thing, but Gemma Collins, obviously, she's one of thousands of influencers,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, that will showcase one way of losing weight.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to talk about actually, what do you think about influencers that are preaching health and fitness advice that isn't necessarily the right way, according to what obviously we know as PTs?
Mm-hmm.
Should they be held responsible for what they're teaching people?
It's so
Or-
bad.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it?
It's so bad, and I can see it both in here and in Greece. Many influencers say, I don't know, I don't want to say bad words, but they say, let's say, stupid things
Yeah.
and stupid ways
What
how
have you
to
heard?
lose weight. Just soup's diet, soup's
diet.
diets. Yeah, just drinking soup, eating soups, and lose weight, or I don't know, extreme fasting. Like, people cannot be, hungry for a few hours. How can they be fasting for 24 hours or 2 days in a row or 3 days? I've heard that. Don't eat
Yeah.
anything for 3 days, and
I mean,
autophagy and all that stuff. Just do the basics good, correctly, and you'll see great results. Just move more.
Apologies for interrupting the podcast today. Thank you so much for tuning into You Know What. We really appreciate you listening, subscribing, liking, and reviewing everything that we're doing. It's so nice to see so many of you interacting with our podcast as it grows. If you didn't already know, me and Nick have one of the fastest growing online coaching platforms on the planet, and we'd love to get you involved. We're looking for ambitious people looking to grow their careers and grow their experience in health and fitness. Me and Nick have over 10 years of working experience in the fitness industry, and we'd love to help you achieve the results that you've always wanted. Make sure to contact either Coach Dan King or Get Fit by Nick, or even just check the link in our bio to the podcast now. We'd love to hear from you.
Eat a bit less, and you'll see great results. It's that simple.
It is. This is the mad thing about it. You said about soup diets and obviously diet culture. And I think from the whole Gemma Collins side of it, it's obviously the kind of crash diets that people go on. But the foundations are, at the end of the day, and I hate to say it because it's so blasé, the boring stuff works. The boring stuff works for us as business owners. The boring stuff works within training. The boring stuff works within dieting. It's how much you eat, and you need to account for the calories you're consuming and then decrease it by a little bit. That's all you need to do. If you look, again, I go back to the table analogy. If you lay out all your food you eat on a table and you had a look at all those meals, you just take a little bit of rice out, or you just take a little bit of pasta out, or pitta. I don't know. You just take something out, and it's that simple. But this whole rise of crash dieting, so for Achilles, for you, have you had clients come in the past who have spoken about crash dieting? Do you think there's a methodology for mindset side of things to help people come away from the crash diet culture and teach themselves, or teach them in a better way of getting through this kind of, because we're in a minefield at the minute. Is there a better way to get through crash diet culture at the minute? What would you say to someone who came in and went, I want to have soups permanently as a diet?
The thing I always say to people that come to me to lose weight is, okay, let's start from zero. I want you to express all the bad experiences you had in the past. So they express themselves, right? They say what didn't work, what worked, and what didn't work in the past. And then we discuss analytically about what worked, all right? And if I see that makes sense, I keep it. And then I try to make it even bigger, right? We try to delete what didn't work in the past, and we're never gonna talk about that again. So if the soups didn't work, okay, forget it. If the fasting didn't work, okay, forget it. What worked in the past? Oh, they might say it worked to have, 3 meals a day and 2 snacks. Okay, that's good. Did you enjoy that? Yeah, I enjoyed that. It was good. Okay, that's the basis. Okay, let's say now, what foods do you like to eat? And then they say, I like to eat pasta, but I know I cannot eat pasta. No, you can. Okay, let's see how we can adjust it in your diet. Pasta, all right? And then they say, okay, but I'm a sugar craver. What's the word?
Crave sugar. You cook to crave sugar, yeah.
Crave sugar. Right. So they want to eat sweets every now and then. Ice creams or chocolates or whatever. Okay. We can do that as well. We can put it in your diet. It's fine. As long as it's in the right portion in a week, like a diet plan, it's fine. And we take it very slowly. Slowly. And I'm trying to explain everything, every single detail, and how everything can be into a diet and work. It's very simple. I'm trying to be very, analytical to explain in detail to my clients and to people that I help with their diet, and that works.
It's helpful because obviously a lot of people that are trying to lose weight, they get confused by all of the messaging about what's good for them, what's bad for them. But there are principles that matter more than the actual details, and you need to obviously address people that some of their diet is actually all right as it is to begin with. They're just maybe focusing too much on instability in terms of like eating too much of the bad foods all the time and overdoing their calories too much, and then they assume that because they've had bread and it bloats them out one day, they think that bread's the cause of their weight gain, which is not. Which I mean,
but you can explain to them, right?
why
they think that's the problem.
Yeah, and you like carbs, right? You have carbs in your
everybody.
diet, you're not a keto warrior.
Everybody does.
Good,
right?
mate. Yeah. So we carb guy,
Yep.
carb guy, mate. Carbs are great. I've lost weight on carbs. I feel
Yeah.
great. I feel great with carbs, man. Do you know what I mean? But then there's those people that say carbs are bad for you.
But this is a clear example of a symptom doesn't mean it's the cause. You can get ill and have like a bunged up nose, but just because you have a bunged up nose doesn't mean you have a cold. It could just mean that you've got like a small infection somewhere else. The symptom doesn't always correlate to the cause. So if we're saying carbs are causing you to gain weight, that doesn't correlate, because technically, without confounding, if you're just eating carbs and gaining weight, yes, carbs are causing you to gain weight if you are solely eating carbs. But I can tell you right now, nobody just sits and eat carbs in a day. There's always some kind of like micronutrient in there as well, so we can never predetermine it. I think we kind of say, you're very right there, Achilles, in saying break things down a little bit. I think people are so stressed, as you say, with dealing with the details, but they don't have a foundation of a diet in place anyway. Like,
no, if you listen to the, of course, obviously you're not there when I'm talking to a client, but I'm trying to break it down as simply as I can, right? And talk with some examples, and like try to bring some examples from the real life. Like, let's say, okay, do you remember how you felt after eating that pizza? And they'll say, yeah, I felt like bloated and all that stuff. Okay. And did you weigh yourself next morning? I said, yes, I was 1 kilo up. I'm like, okay.
They always weigh themselves.
Do you see any like correlation between them? Eating pizza at night and weighing yourself in the morning? Like, oh yeah, you're right. Most people are too busy with everything in their life. They don't think about their food and, the timing of weighing yourself on the scale. And then they make some, what's the word? Conclusion. Yeah. And then they make a conclusion, and they say, "Oh, I cannot lose weight.
Yeah.
I'm bad."
Do you know what? There's
must be something in my genetics.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is the excuse for that. But I think the biggest problem is everyone is always talking about weight. It's not all about weight all the time, is it?
It's not about weight.
Because like you're probably obese when it comes to like BMI scale, but you're a strong
overweight.
man. Yeah, you're not
Overweight.
I'm overweight.
I'm overweight. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're all overweight.
We're overweight because we've got muscle. We weigh quite a bit, right? But people are so obsessed with weight and scale weight, and as soon as they've had a pizza, they have to weigh themselves for the next day. They don't have to weigh themselves, but they do, because they want to see how bad they've ruined it, right?
Yeah.
They ruined it in their head. But it's weight that's the problem. And so obviously Gemma losing 13.2 pounds, wasn't it? For her, it was about, let's see how much weight I can lose. Oh, I've done really well. The waist has shrunk because of it. However, doesn't mean it's all fat, which we talked about. And that's the problem when it comes to focusing weight. You're not focusing on the quality weight loss. You're not going to look better necessarily. I think people want to look better. They want to feel leaner. They want to be. They want to have tighter clothing. Sorry, other way around, baggy clothing. Yeah, in our case, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say
and so yeah, man. It is interesting how people's motivation and brain thinks about it.
It's almost people want to punish themselves for having the bad meal, don't it? You're saying it's like they call it compound negativity, don't they? Where you have your negative stimulus of eating the pizza, which you'll eat and you'll feel great because of the dopamine release. But then after that, you'll feel worse. And then all you want to do is go into almost a negative decline where you create this negative feedback loop for yourself by weighing yourself and then feeling shit about weighing yourself. And then you go and eat a chocolate bar and then you weigh yourself again later in the day. And then you create this negative source. I mean, I read a book called The Secret, and The Secret is a fantastic book. I know you've read it yourself. I don't know if you've read it. It's by Rhonda Byrne. And she stated in there, she said, look, if you start to set yourselves on the scales. You set the goal weight you want to hit on the scales. Not necessarily look at the scales to actually weigh yourself, but if you start to envisage where you want to get to, the likelihood is all your habits will start to align with where you want to envisage and get there. It's not about continuously thinking, I want to lose, I want to lose, I want to lose. You just want to be like, I'd like to hit this weight, so I'm going to keep working on it and try and get to the point in time. And I think a lot of people immediately put them in a negative position when they turn around and say, I want to lose weight. Yeah. You're immediately kind of being a bit negative. You say, if you come in and say, okay, I want a bit of fat loss, but I'm not too sure on what the weight would be because of that, because people can fixate on targets of numbers then, can't they? And somebody at 70 kilos can look very different to someone at 80 kilos. For example, I'm in the best shape of my life and I'm 20 kilos heavier than I was 3 years ago. And that's a fascinating thing. We'll look at it. Now, for you fellas as well, because you wanted to talk about this a little bit on the podcast, and I think it comes in as a very interesting topic about metabolic depletion now. Okay, so we're talking about working with people over the age of 25 is when metabolic depletion starts to happen, but it's a lot, 30 is when you start to see it more so. So metabolic depletion, what is it and how is it affecting people as much as it is at this point in time? Like, because so many people blame their metabolism, don't they? Yeah. And absolutely. It's not necessarily that's causing the issue. But for you, Achilles, how have you dealt with metabolic depletion? Firstly, again, what is it, and how do people deal with it?
I think that literally is not something super special, and it's overrated, in my opinion, because you may decrease your metabolism by a little bit every single year after 30, all right, but it's not that much. It's like you move, 500 meters more in a day, right? It's not that bad. But people come to me and say, oh, it must be my age because I'm getting older and I cannot lose weight now. I'm like, okay, do you move the same like 5 years ago? I'm like, no, I'm busier. Okay, have you thought about that? Oh yeah, now it makes sense. So it's not your age. Yeah.
I totally agree with you, man.
Huh?
I totally agree with you. It's stupid. Like when you're 20, let's say, did you go to uni by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're 20 and you in uni, for example, or college, and you can like just stand up and move around, and you go with your friends and you party and do all this stuff. Well, you're always moving. You can eat what you want, and everyone's like, "How can you stay so skinny and you eat what you want?" But you're moving all the time. And then when you're 30, you've got responsibilities.
Yeah, you sit on a desk.
You've got a career that's thriving, and you're trying to keep up with it. And it means that you've got to like work on your laptop, and you sat there the whole day, and then you're tired mentally, so you don't go to the gym, and then you start to eat snack food, and then it starts to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's nothing to do with age. It's to do with your responsibilities, isn't it? Like you get more responsibilities as you get older. Like your window of focus is like, let's say it's 100% when you're a kid, and you're like looking at everything like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? As you get older, it's more narrowed. And everything takes a bit of your focus and attention.
100%.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with age, to a certain degree anyway, at least.
100%.
You're not 30 yet, so you're prime metabolic.
Yeah, prime metabolic age at this point in time.
We're going to die, mate. We're going to die soon. Look at us.
What's those letters, the capitals for? Is it NEAT?
NEAT, yes, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, yes.
I think NEAT is much more important than just going to the gym.
Yeah.
Right? If you move more and eat less, it's fine. You don't have to go to the gym actually to lose weight.
Very true, mate.
It's a big truth.
I mean, obviously, we talked about this before about BMR obviously being the big part. 60% of your daily calorie burn is doing nothing, obviously. And then 20 to 30% is NEAT. So that's you moving around. So obviously that's the one you can influence the most, because you can't influence BMR like so easily. It's something that's just kind of there, and you can build it slowly over time by building muscle mass. But NEAT is the one thing you can actually do something about. So you can move more now, and you can actually see a difference. Whereas obviously BMR takes time.
Well, what I wanted to say there on the topic of NEAT, if you look at it from one perspective, we were talking about takeaways earlier. If you look at when our parents were younger, our parents would go and walk to a Chinese or walk to an Indian takeaway or walk for a fish and chips. They'd go down and get it. Yeah. But nowadays, we order it on Deliveroo. That's one big thing taken out. For example, I walked up the road to go pick up a Chinese for the first time in about 10 years the other day. And I stood there and went, why is it taking me 10 years to just walk up the road? And why does it seem like such a big task to walk up the road and pick up some non-nutritionally dense food? Like, what do you think's changed in society? Do you think it's just things have been made easier for us now then, in that case? Because it almost is, isn't it?
I mean, as a Londoner yourself, mate, like, you know, you said it earlier, when you're on that phone, you're scrolling around 700 restaurants plus.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's so easy.
Everything is so easy. Everything. You can just lay on your sofa and do nothing and have everything. That's it.
That's such a good way of putting it.
Okay. In terms of like, there's some stats about this. I can't remember off the top of my head. We've written down. This is to do with the. Okay. So people that are more deprived in terms of finances, say their income, their expenses is higher than obviously, you know, they're able to cope with. So they've got less income available to spend. Right. They are almost double, or almost double more likely to be obese than people that have more income and are richer and have more money available to them. Why is that the case?
Is it because of that the junk food is cheaper?
That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Who's more likely to be on Uber Eats? Do we reckon? Do we like? I would say rich people would be Uber Eats still, right?
They would, but I think it's less so because they'd be looking at going and play. And this is very stereotypical, but I'm saying people will probably go to places like M&S, go get some fresh fruit, fresh veg, and it's more, you know, like if I turn around to two people, say one person, and this is again, one person lives down the most famous Kensington Road. I can't remember the exact, and another person lives, I don't know, they're living in East London in one of the kind of more slummed out areas around there. The likelihood is the people in the slummed out areas will probably order the Uber Eats more than someone living in an expensive place, because it's almost a different turn on how they're perceiving things. Because, I mean, processed food is seen as cheap. It is seen as cheap. If I literally put a McDonald's burger versus a Michelin star burger next to each other, the price range is different because of the quality that you get at the end of the day. And we said this on a previous podcast, and actually there was a clip that did really well. I say really well because it was controversial, but it was about meal deals and kind of how people can go and buy if you're choosing between a £5 meal deal and a £3.50 meal deal, the difference in quality is down to the pricing points that they put on that. There technically isn't much between them, but so many people go for the £3.50, and in that you are getting your more processed. All of it's processed, because if I cut an apple, it's processed, but there's more processed. So I think the abundance of processed foods is just easier for people these days, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, you can pick up a bag of crisps from probably every couple of steps in London, can't you? And you're not going to walk up the road and see like an avocado in a store 90% of the time. So,
but again, if you want to lose weight, it doesn't mean that if you live in East London you cannot lose weight.
Yeah.
There is always a solution. Like my grandparents in Greece. They were not rich, but they were eating healthily.
Yeah.
Right. So it's always a choice of yours. You choose what you're gonna eat, and if you have the basic principles of eating healthy and moving more, and have a high physical activity, then you'll be in a better shape.
Yeah.
Won't you?
Which can obviously be difficult for people, because obviously, like London, I always assume of London as like the fast-paced moving capital of the UK, obviously. And, with that, I'm thinking, first thing that comes to my head is stressed out people in suits running around everywhere, picking up something pretty crap from the local store just to get some food in. And I find people that are stressed and they're career-driven and trying to climb the ladder in their company, they're the type of people that neglect their health the most, I find.
Well, I want to bring into a point there, because I had, and Nick knows about this, I had a whole PT day, an architectural firm near Marble Arch. And I tell you what, I was going in there expecting everyone to have different problems. But it's exactly the same issue. Apart from obviously the mums and people who are like post-menopausal and stuff like that, there were little different problems there. But everyone who came in and spoke to me, it was the same issues. I struggle at lunch because I don't know what to have. I go have a meal deal. And my best piece of advice there was sacrifice your sandwich for a pasta pot that's got more nutrition in it. Not always the case, depending where you go. They said, I go out and buy too much processed foods. I'm like, could you meal prep lunches? I know you're busy, but could you meal prep on one day on the weekend? I went, Sunday afternoons, I've normally got a bit of time. Breakfast doesn't exist most of the time, so we end up going for 2 meals, and in 2 meals, you're not going to get enough calories to balance out the amount of energy you're expending throughout the day to keep yourself focused and alert. And this is the point I was trying to make, is it seems like as much as we think there's a lot of different problems out there, a lot of them just come to kind of time-bound issues. And abundance issues, and people if I tell someone you've got 30 minutes to get lunch, how many people out there do you think are say, okay, I'm going down to Tesco's, rather than turn around and say, okay, I'm going to make a quick nutritious meal? Even if you go down to the shops and buy some wraps, bit of avocado, bit of like you do it all the time. You get some chicken breast. It may be a little bit of process, but you can do that.
Yeah.
I buy meal deals.
Yeah, well, you buy
I
meals.
think they want the ready like quick solution. They don't want to spend energy in thinking or creating something, because they save that energy to focus on their job or whatever else. I don't know, anything else. But my advice is, if you really have a goal and you want to find a solution, you'll do everything to find the solution, because there is so much information around us, and you can find the experts that can help you solve your problems or give you solutions. But if you focus on the problems all the time and you complain and you find excuses, it's so easy to find excuses every day for everything. It's hard to find solutions, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
I find it so interesting though, because and I want to talk about investment into coaches here, because obviously us three are coaches here, and we'll plug Achilles at the end for his own coaching services that he offers. But I think people, we were talking about obviously Deliveroo there. I think people are much more willing to pay £15 a day to order a Deliveroo in than they are to spend what would be £15 a day on a PT. Say you've got a PT in London, but we're saying the average price is about £60 per hour upwards, wouldn't you, for a PT? So people are more willing to, say, get 3 to 4 takeaways in a week than they would be to get a PT for one session in a week to actually better their health and improve where they are. I'm really questioning why that is, though. Why are people more willing to get takeaways than they are investing in coaches these days? What do you think it is? It's a tough old question as well.
I think that many
Same
people
thing,
do not know that you can have a PT for a short period of time if you want to really to get educated in training and learn how to train yourself. You can invest in a PT for 3 months or 2 months and take the most out of it, right? So you invest some money and you take a lot out of it, and then you can implement is the word. You can implement those in, like that knowledge and train by yourself forever.
Yeah.
Right. We are coaches. We are coaching people. We are teaching people how to train, not only counting reps or I don't know.
Well, I can't even do that, so I don't know. I can't count to
That's
2.
the sign of a good PT. The sign of a good PT is someone who can't count reps, because you're looking at the form. That's
Yeah.
This is bullshit. Anyone that can count reps, mate, they're not good people.
They're lying.
Yeah.
No, but change is uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. Yeah.
Change is uncomfortable.
100%.
Most people don't want to change. But they want to change, but they find it too uncomfortable. And unless you have enough discomfort in your life that's causing you to question what you're doing, you're never going to change. Like, everyone's always trying to avoid discomfort, which is why jumping in cold showers is something that Rich made us do. when
Oh,
we did
don't
the
say that.
mastermind
Don't say
last
that.
He's got a shiver. He's like, my God.
Showers. Rich, how dare you? This man still does cold. What's it, ice bath? Sorry, my bad. The whole point of that is obviously to build your tolerance to discomfort. So then you're forcing that change to happen. Right?
It's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
If it's something, it's out of your life. If it's something that you haven't done in your life again in the past, it sounds difficult. But you have to find the strength.
So do people have to do ice baths to force themselves to beat the discomfort, or is there another way? Because
just a cold shower is enough.
a cold shower is enough. Yeah.
30 seconds.
Just 30 seconds.
I'm gonna really be honest though. I mean, we're talking about discomfort there, and this is me playing devil's advocate. I, in a way, think people do just need to suck it up a bit these days, and that's how I know that's something people don't like to hear. But I've got to a stage now where I'm listening to the amount of excuses that I'm being given on a weekly basis as a PT and a coach, and it's like, just suck it up for a day. Like, you're like, I know, like, we all go through bad patches in our life where things can get in the way, and I've had some mums with 2 kids who have had renovations going on in their home who have been made redundant from their jobs, and they've had to turn around and say, look, I'm taking a break. And you know what? In those cases, fair play. But she said, I'm still going to stay on my diet though, even if she's not coming in for sessions with me. And she's just said, these things aren't in play at the minute, Fee. They're not going my way, but I'm still going to keep something I can control. And I say suck it up loosely because I think a lot of people have that as a trigger term. They're like, oh my God, up for a scrap straight away. But I think in a way we have become such a soft culture to making things so easy for ourselves that we don't believe we can actually do it ourselves. How many people lack belief when they come in and train with a coach or a PT these days, such as ourselves? How many people do you think switch off within like a short period of time? Because they don't think they have the abilities or the facilities there to be able to get to where they want to get to, when actually in reality they do. And I think people need to just believe in themselves a bit more as well, that they can get the results they want to get to. What brings you on to a point, though, is this almost leads into the neglect of health of busy professionals as well, and people who are running their own businesses. So, Achilles, you said you also work with a lot of individuals who have their own businesses or busy professionals living in London. Why do you think people aren't prioritising health when they start up a business or start working in the profession they want to work in?
100% they're focusing on their business.
Mm-hmm.
They're focusing 100% there. They put themselves in the second, like, how do you say that? Like, lower
tier. They prioritize themselves less.
Yeah, they don't prioritize themselves.
Yep.
And then they forget to prioritize themselves. And then the years, pass. The time passes quickly. I had a client last year, Alex, and he lost 20 kilos. He's been a CEO for a company for the last 12 years. Yeah. So for the last 12 years, he wasn't moving almost at all. He was on the desk for 12 years. So imagine how hard it was for his joints to learn again how to move properly. Right?
Yeah.
It's not easy to change after 12 years of sitting on a chair. But he made it. He lost 20 kilos. He got stronger. But the reason that happened is, he said, I reached the point that he was 35, 36 years old, unhealthy. So young person, 35 is young, right? And he was feeling unhealthy. He was feeling like sick every day. He found a plateau at work. He reached his goals, like professionally, in business-wise. He made a lot of money. He got so many promotions. All good. Yeah, perfect. But how about you? He was feeling sick for so many years. And then he switched he flipped the switch.
Flip the switch. Flip the switch.
Flip the saying.
Yeah. Yeah, flip the saying there.
Switch the flip. You flip the switch.
Flip the switch. Yeah.
So, again, he flipped.
He flipped the switch. He flipped the switch. Yeah, you got it. But that's so important. And mate, that it's an eye-opening story, I think, for a lot of people who are listening, because I think a lot of people don't understand that there is always a time to flip the switch. There is. Genuinely, there is. And I've had clients come in who are 53 and they have still not taken ownership for the decisions they've made in life. And I think if you're still blaming events that happened 20 plus years ago, whether that be an injury, whether that be a big change in your life, you're going to struggle to make the progress you want to see in the longer term. You need to accept that you're not feeling healthy. And as hard as that is for a lot of people, like sometimes I turn around in acceptance, I'm like, I'm not strong, but I can get stronger. And like, I think it is important that people do have the acceptance element of it, that they understand that they're not where they want to be right now, but they'll get there.
You don't have to be like a bodybuilder, right?
No.
Just be healthier.
Well,
and
you need to prioritize your health, because you've only got one body. Like whenever you go to a hospital and you see someone like in, like, let's say a bad situation physically, they're in hospital, they're dealing with their health. The only thing they're thinking about is getting better. Yeah. They don't care about their business. They don't care about anything else. They want to make sure they're healthy so they can be around their loved ones. You know what I mean? And it sometimes it takes that level of discomfort or pain for someone to realize that the way they're going is the bad way. It's a bad way. But for example, we obviously had Jamie from Sappy last week. He's 24. You know, obviously he's a young man, so he can afford at that age to be able to work, right? Like a lot of 24, 25-year-olds can. But you know, eventually when it does turn up into 35 years old, 10 years later, and if he doesn't, you know, people like that don't do something now, it can get worse for him. But
Jamie even spoke to us. I do apologise, Achilles. I'll come to you in a second. But I do think even Jamie said it to us prior. He was saying how he's already feeling like he's neglecting his health a lot. He said he set a world record for playing the longest game of football when he was 20 years old. Yeah. And he said he's feeling like it's polar opposites in activity, really, isn't it, to where he is now? As much as people running up and down the country to make big commercial sales, you are lacking. And he said as he's driving down the motorway, there's McDonald's, KFC, McDonald's, and he's just repeating. Anyway, Achilles, what were you going to say on that?
I was going to say that most busy professionals do not know that if they improve their health and their physical condition, they're going to smash their goals in business. because they're gonna think faster, think better, feel better, sleep better. Everything's gonna be better. So you improve in all ways. You're not gonna be better physically and worse mentally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They both go together. Up.
100%.
You said this, you get energy back. For every hour of energy you spend in the gym, you get an hour back.
But yeah, people think that if you spend an hour in the gym, you're going to lose energy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, that 1 hour, you do lose energy because that's what training does. You are breaking down the body. You're not building it. You're breaking it down. But then afterwards, you get given energy. And that energy can sometimes give you more energy than you're actually putting out. Your confidence improves. You look better naked. You look better, obviously.
Your stamina goes up.
Yeah,
right?
Your skin's better. You can see the world more vibrantly. You can communicate better with people.
Confidence.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I'm biased towards obviously trainers. Obviously, apart from our crazy work schedule, when we get control of that, as PTs, we've got the best industry, man, because we're about improving our own health, and we can get to reap the benefits of it by being able to teach other people how to do it. I think we're in the best industry, mate. One of the hardest industries.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a great industry, mate. I think we've got a little bit of all of it. We're reminding ourselves constantly, as much as we're doing all these hours, all these clients at 7 a.m. in the morning to 8 p.m. We're like, yeah, okay, I'm being a bit of a hypocrite here, but we're constantly reminding ourselves. These people don't have that. They don't have that internal dialogue that we have because we're focused on it. Do you know what I mean?
But I don't feel like work when I work.
No.
You know what I mean? I feel like I'm having fun with my clients,
Yeah,
and we're reaching their goals at the same time. Like,
but we're like that. We're like, obviously, every PT is self-employed 9 times out of 10. Apart from the ones that obviously work for leisure centers and stuff.
Yeah.
So we are those people that are trying to push the boundaries and build something, and we also have to take into consideration our health. And we're proof that you can work crazy hours and still be in relatively good shape and health. So it is possible for people to be like that.
But it was like a realisation of a PT. I just want to say something there. Realisation of a PT schedule. So I had a client who turned around to me the other week and literally just turned around and went, yeah, actually, you know what? You guys do really well to stay switched on. I'm like, yeah, because say like the average PT's day across the country, we would love to have a day where you start at 6 or finish at 3 or, you finish early. But average PT day is you've got 4 hours in the morning, say 6 till 10. You've then got a gap from about 10 till 4. Then you've got clients in the evening from 4 till 8. But we have to be switched on from that 6 o'clock point right until the 8 o'clock point because we can't take away from the quality of sessions that we're delivering. Much like if you're working in a busy office, you're not expecting to start clocking off about 12 o'clock. So I think sometimes we have to give ourselves plaudits and praise for doing what we do and managing to do it in a way that we are actually helping people. And I think it's that reward system again, like it's a reward system of being able to turn around to someone and someone comes in for a session, they smash like 6 PRs or something. Amazing, isn't it? It's an amazing feeling. But I do believe we're going to have to wrap up there just because I'm cautious of time.
Yes.
But Achilles, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast today, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Now we are going to plug yourself, so you can look directly down the camera. Where can people find your services, and what exactly obviously do you focus on as a coach?
they can find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, in all platforms. Achilleas Iliadis is the name. I offer services both online and in person, and I have my Linktree on my Instagram, so they can answer the questions in my type form I have there, and then we have a free call just to discuss about their goals, and if I can help them, then we can discuss the next steps. It's very easy, very quick. I love helping people that struggle with both with training and nutrition. And that's it. Thank you so much, guys.
No, it's a pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. Anyway, guys, I'll do the old wrappy-uppy thing. Appreciate you guys watching the podcast. Thank you so much. Make sure to follow Achilles and myself and Nick if you're not already. You're crazy if you aren't. And make sure to obviously check out all the clips that will be coming out from the podcast too. They're fantastic. We appreciate all the support that we've been having. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to follow us. And make sure to leave us a cheeky review on Spotify. We appreciate you guys. You're an amazing crowd. And we've got big things planned. So we'll catch you guys later.
Ciao, ciao.
Beautiful. Now we can press the